And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Flying weather for Thursday morning. We've got a fair amount of IFR here over the eastern Bering Sea, but staying off the southwest coast there, and IFR up over the eastern Aleutians, and then back over Adak and Atka. More IFR, or a little bit of IFR here for areas of the central north slope, and pretty good conditions in the interior, picking up some marginal VFR as you head south here with that developing into an IFR zone for Prince William Sound. And from the eastern Copper River Basin right on down the southeast coast, VFR. For the afternoon, looks like some marginal VFR sliding up into the southern panhandle, and also marginal VFR across the Gulf there into Prince William Sound, Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, and the Matanuska Valley, Susitna Valley. Should stay VFR, as well as portions of the Kuskokwim Valley here, and up to the north, good VFR. Just some lower conditions there over the central north slope along on the just the north side of the Brooks Range in that area. And out to the west, not too much IFR out over the Bering Sea. A little bit here just near Nikolsky, but generally looking at mostly marginal VFR out in that area. And for the Friday morning hours or period there, some IFR here across the northern Bering Sea, but not quite making it to Nunivak Island. Otherwise, marginal conditions all the way south across the entire Aleutian Chains, Alaska Peninsula, Bristol Bay, right up into the southwest interior here. IFR possibly along the eastern slopes of the western Alaska Range, and more marginal VFR here for the Talkeetna Mountains on down into the North Gulf Coast. Pretty good, just some spotty areas of marginal VFR in the central interior, and still some IFR there along the north slope. Otherwise, areas of marginal VFR mostly over the central and south coast there of the Panhandle. For the afternoon, mostly VFR for the southeast coast, the exception being Prince of Wales Island. Could be a little marginal there through the day. Good VFR, a fair portion of the interior here. Some spotty areas of IFR back to the west, right along the western Alaska Range there in the lower Yukon River area, and then a band there from the southern Kuskokwim Valley down into northeast Bristol Bay. Good VFR here, eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, much of the, just about all the eastern Bering Sea, as you can see right up into the Chukchi Sea. Just a couple of bands of marginal VFR there, one affecting Atka Island, and this one farther to the north, away from a land area. And for passes, Anatuvik and Adigan for the day on Thursday. Marginal VFR for Anatuvik. Adigan, though, should be better, hopefully, at VFR. And Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR for those passes. Rainy, looking marginal. Windy, though, VFR. And Isabel also VFR. Mentasta, marginal. And for Tanita, marginal VFR. Portage, marginal. Chilkoot and White, VFR. Freezing levels here at the surface, right up along the North Gulf Coast, across the northern Panhandle, then cutting across the southern Bering Sea here, 2,000 feet, still a fair distance south of the Alaska Peninsula. So moving on into icing here, we've got some spotty areas here over the central interior of possible light icing, especially along and south of the Alaska Range there in the Kenai Peninsula, but the better chance of seeing some considerable moderate icing will be here over the eastern Aleutians, Alaska Peninsula, pushing up but not quite making it to the Pribilof Islands. And the jet stream here, you can see light variable winds, 33,000 feet here, covering much of the area with a stronger, the Pacific jet here off to the west or the south or the southeast there. So dropping down to 9,000 feet, we've got some easterly winds at about 30 knots there, Arctic coast and the North Slope area. Otherwise, lighter winds, light winds, central southern Alaska, across the Gulf and much of the Northeast Pacific and into the Panhandle. And out to the west, maybe some 35-knot northerly winds there around Amchitka and Kiska Islands. And for the 3,000-foot winds, kind of a weak center of high pressure here over southern Alaska, and otherwise up to the north here, stronger winds, 40 to 45 knots up along the north slope and the Arctic coast. Easterlies 40 knots, Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians, and northerlies 50 knots farther to the west with light winds there, Adak and Atka, as well as the Gulf of Alaska and the Panhandle. So going on to turbulence, we'll see for western and eastern Aleutians, considerable moderate turbulence there, and also up here into the Alaska Peninsula. Another zone here from the eastern Brooks Range area down into the Koyukuk Valley, and along and north of the Yukon River there, right out to eastern Norton Sound. And another area here for the eastern Arctic coast, mostly from Point Lay down to Cape Lisburne or maybe Point Hope in those areas.